Rangers taking on Porto this week in Portugal. Porto should win that. Rangers are in a bit of an unfamiliar position of being the underdogs in that game. How do you see it panning out? Can Rangers get an unlikely point even?
I mean, I'd take a point. It'd be a brilliant result if we got a point. I think Jordan was saying they've won the last 8 domestically or something.
Yeah, I think 8 in a row domestically and 7 clean sheets. So pretty tight.
Any result there is a big result. But I think Rangers can raise their game in Europe. We've shown it kind of time and again, particularly at Ibrox. So away from home might be a wee bit different, but you can't write Rangers off. If we start well, anything's possible. I think there'd be a higher level of concentration after the young boys thing, because we went in that young boys game, that was there for the taking, and the team just, there was like maybe a little lack of belief, or maybe a little kind of nervousness of like,
you are made to be very much the young boys in a theatre of men.
That James Taverny or no?
Yeah, I think we can sort of. I think almost. I was thinking about this earlier, that we can. This is the game where you can afford in the group to drop points. Obviously, we already have at Young Boys, which isn't great, but we can still get out of the group and drop points here. I think the key to it is going and taking something from the game, whether that is as much of learning about what they have to offer. Mm-hmm. So then when you come back to Ibrox in the double header, we know how to exploit them. Maybe can have some sort of weakness, because they've had some cracking players. They're known as like a selling club, you know, the sell boys like Falcao, and like even going back to like Deco and all those guys. They have a real talent factory, but there's not huge names sticking out for you right now. So they're not unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination. It would be very hard, but I think it's more maybe about trying to nick something if possible, and then having a plan which we can realistically win at home.
If we're going to get out of the group, I think that we need to win. We need to win at least one of the games against Porto. I think 3 points at Ibrox would really go a long way to helping us get out of the group. But more than that, the players that have maybe joined Rangers with the intention of playing these big European games, playing this kind of standard of competition, etc., when they come back home, they need to be able to take that performance lift that they've got and apply it away to Hearts or at home to Motherwell. There could be no real differentiation between like this player's going to perform at this level in Europe to performing domestically, because for Rangers fans,
what game is more important for Rangers this week? Porto away or keep them up domestically?
I mean, financially, if you win, you end up getting like what, 500 grand or something like that. So
yeah, which is pretty tight.
For like the people upstairs, it'd probably Porto. But I mean, for everybody connected to Rangers, it's Motherwell. We need to win, but like I said, the players that maybe want to perform and want to show in Europe, like Ojo, I think got double against Midtjylland, they scored against Feyenoord. Aribo has been a standout in Europe, etc., and he hasn't really managed to turn it on domestically. Is that these players need to learn that this is, whilst it's all well and good and you're getting part of the glamour of this, that you need to perform when you come back to Scotland.
It's a total different mentality thing, because the drop from playing Porto to Mull aren't a bad team, but like the drop in quality it's bizarre. I mean, it was even worse a few weeks ago when you're playing a Hamilton team who are a bit more about passion and dig rather than technicality. Like, do you think maybe almost takes Rangers, maybe not the Hamilton games, maybe not a good example, you blew them away, but
see, no matter where you're playing, the opposite, you kind of get dragged down to the opposite.
You almost need to adjust to their, you maybe play up to Porto because they're of a higher standard, whereas Mull, you're sort of playing a bit more to their level.
Yeah,
it's very much a different like approach in terms of it. I get what you're saying. It must be actually quite difficult tactically wise to set up for 2 completely different games, because it's going to be Rangers forcing the pace at the weekend, whereas it's going to be a containment job, and you know, if we're lucky, striking the break there. But I think it's worth pointing out again, we're of the same opinion. I'm not sure if everyone was necessarily at the start of the season, but we certainly were, that Europe is very much getting to Europe was massive. So the Legia Warsaw game was huge, just for the profile of the club and the finances, and having that, you know, you're a big club if you're playing twice a week and getting that atmosphere and stuff going. But really, all the games after that are less important than the Legia one. And what we're trying to do is, if we can get to the knockout stages and we have 2 more games and the finances come in and it raises the stature of the Rangers' back, that's great. But what we can't be doing is sacrificing stuff, you know, to a point that then Motherwell is an issue on the Sunday. And I don't think it will be. I think Gerrard knows deep down. He can never say that, look, you know, Europe's not a priority for us, because for him it sort of is, but Rangers are never going to win that competition. Sorry, not never. They're certainly not going to win it this year.
You still expect to compete though, you know?
Yeah, expect to compete. So I think like, do as much as you possibly can to get out of the group. If it doesn't happen, it's not a disaster, but it is a disaster if you come home and lose 2-1 to Motherwell on the Sunday.
Lovely.